Welcome to 100 Yards of Football. If you like the video today, please come in and share it. We'll surely appreciate it here on 100 Yards of Football. Special thanks to my producer today, the very talented Mr. Logan Landers. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. So if you like the video today, please come in and share it because the video today is on the 1998 National Champions, the Tennessee Volunteers, the first BCS champion. So if you like the video, please come in and share it. As a lot of people understand and know how proud I am from being from the state of Tennessee, the 901 Memphis, Tennessee. There's no question about it. I've been a University of Tennessee fan since 1968. Listened to the great John Ward and some of his calls over those years about the Tennessee football team. And me turning 64 in July of this year, 64 years old on July 17th, I can honestly say to my people in our audience here on 100 Yards of Football, when that team won the national championship on January the 4th, it was one of the greatest days of my life. A state that's only got, about 6 to 7 million people, to be at the top of the world and be the first, I want to say, legitimate college football national champion. That was something very special to be proud of in the state of Tennessee. And I want to give kudos to Phil Foreman for making that happen. A Tennessee guy out of Winchester, Tennessee, who's been in the state of Tennessee all his life, played football at Tennessee, had a brief coaching stint at Wichita State, but came back home and coached at the school he played at and won a national championship. You think about that Tennessee team, and I think about that 98 season. I think about all the college football teams in my 64 years that's had a great single season. The 1972 USC Trojans are some people consider the greatest team ever that had Richard Wood, Anthony Davis, Lynn Swann. Then the 97 Nebraska Cornhuskers, who won back-to-back national championships. They had Tommy Frazier at quarterback, Scott Frost, Lawrence Phillips. Outstanding football team there. Then the 1991 Washington Huskies. They had Steve Ettman, DeMarco Farr, Lincoln Kennedy, Mario Bailey, Billy Joe Hobart. And then the 2003 USC Trojans, they had Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, Brian Cushing. Phenomenal football teams. But this team right here, I hope when college football goes back and they really want to give flowers and love, they'll look at this football team as being right up there, maybe at the top of the heap. The 1998 season that year, I want to say undefeated. The Tennessee Volunteers, unmatched. The Tennessee Volunteers, perfection. 23-16 over Florida State, 13-0. It was Tennessee's first national championship in 47 years. Good old Rocky Top. Peerless Price in the national championship game, 4 receptions, 199 yards. And the Vols' attitude that season, a chip on our shoulder. A chip on our shoulder. Led by a young man out of Mobile, Alabama, T. Martin, who was following a GOAT in Peyton Manning at the quarterback position. The facts are in black and white. Out of the 22 starters on that Tennessee football team, they had 12 starters from several states. They had starters from Alabama, starters from Florida, starters from Georgia, starters from Louisiana, starters from Illinois, starters from Maryland, starters from South Carolina, starters from Mississippi, starters from Texas, and starters from Tennessee, and starters from North Carolina. That's a fact. And the team was based on certain qualities, great toughness, great bond. And as the safety from Griffin, Georgia, Fred White said, we played for each other. We didn't play for the University of Tennessee so much. We played for each other. Each other was like brothers. We was loyal. We was loyal. In that season, that Tennessee team held 10 or 13 opponents under 20 points. 7 or 9 opponents in the SEC that year. The first team defense allowed only 8 touchdowns in 9 SEC games. The last 4 games of the season, the first team defense only allowed 3 touchdowns. And there were some key players throughout that season that made this season so special. Let's go back to the first game against Syracuse. Remember T. Martin's 55-yard scramble in that game. You remember his 2 late touchdown passes in the SEC championship game against Mississippi State. Go back to the performance that Al Wilson had in the Florida game that year. He was a stud at the middle linebacker. He forced 3 fumbles that night and had 8 tackles. Then go back to the Georgia game where that first team defense held Georgia to 3 points in that game. On national television, a Georgia team that had Quincy Carter, Kirby Smart, Champ Bailey. That team was special, man. Then think about Dwayne Goodrich, 54-yard interception in the national championship game against Florida State. Think about Sean Ellis' 90-yard interception return from the defensive end position against Auburn that year. Think about Travis Henry, 197 yards rushing against Arkansas. And Billy Ratcliffe recovering Clint Stoner's fumble, the quarterback at Arkansas with 1:45 to go. To keep Tennessee's season alive as Tennessee went on and put it in the end zone behind Travis Henry and went on and won that football game 28-24. There was so many moments that year. And that team beat 8 ranked teams, including 6 January bowl teams. Can I repeat that again? They beat 8 bowl teams, and 6 of them played in January. 4 top 10 teams they beat that year, and 3 BCS bowl teams. The defense was lights out. The receiving core offense was lights out. The offensive line was very experienced. And when you look at it, it's so many moments that I could go on and on. Peerless Party, 79 touchdown reception in the game against Florida State where he beat Mario Edwards man-to-man coverage, and T. Martin laid it up there beautifully. But the one thing I will remember was the quarterback position. T. Martin played at a level that really was the difference in the season. He was the guy that drove the bus. At times, he didn't play well. At times, he wasn't accurate with the football. But when it was time for him to be a champion, he stood to the task. Go back and watch the national championship game. Didn't play it all that great, but when it was time to make plays, he made plays. Go back to the SEC championship game. Didn't play all that great overall, but it was time for him to make plays. In that 4th quarter, 2 touchdown passes, he done it. And I want to say this to those 22 young men that made my life very special that night on January the 4th, 1998. Kudos to Travis Henry. Kudos to Sean Brunson. Kudos to Chad Clifton. Kudos to Mercedes Hamilton. Kudos to Spencer Riley. Kudos to Kosi Coleman. Kudos to Jarvis Reddle. Kudos to Peerless Price. Kudos to Cedric Wilson, the 9-on-1. On its mound, baby, Memphis, Tennessee. Kudos to T. Martin, Mobile, Alabama. Kudos to Darren Walker. Kudos to Al Wilson. Kudos to Eric Westmoreland. Kudos to Al Wilson. Kudos to Steve Johnson. Kudos to Dwayne Goodrich. Kudos to Gerald Griffin. And kudos to the young man from Augusta, Georgia, one of the best safeties that ever played at the University of Tennessee, Mr. Deion Grant. What a football team. And final love and prayers to the head coach, Mr. Phil Foreman. You know how we do it at the 9-on-1, the University of Tennessee, in the state of Tennessee. Stack Records, David Porter, Isaac Hayes, Elvis Presley Boulevard, Nashville, the Grand Ole Opry, in the state of Tennessee, Knoxville, and Dollywood up there in Gatlinburg. The first BCS national champions, the Tennessee Volunteers. If you like the video today, please comment and share it. We surely appreciate it. 100 yards of football. And my final words, if you was born in the state of Tennessee, or if you are from the state of Tennessee, What I love for you to do today is stand up and pound your chest and say this. Who that? Who that? Want to be a Tennessee Volunteer? Who that? Who that? Want to be a Tennessee Volunteer? The orange and white, baby. As the great John Ward. Be clad in orange today. Be blessed here on 100 Yards of Football. I'm Vincent Turner.